Welcome back to the Do Hard Things Today podcast. This is Kevin Harrison and Jed Blackwell here. We are helping you optimize all the areas of your life, and we are fresh back from Walt Disney World, the most magical place on earth. We just got done with the 2026 Walt Disney World Marathon weekend, and it was a heck of a weekend. We've got Bonnie Blackwell with us as well, and she just had a big, huge feat and accomplishment that she's going to get to talk about. And we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about, because it's an entire experience. Many of you have been following along, and we got a lot of listeners in the little Facebook groups and stuff, and the Dopey Challenge and marathons and all the things that the people that love Run Disney are all about. So we're going to talk about all, basically from beginning to end of just this whole experience, talk about the experiences out on the course. Jed Blackwell had his second 5K, was out there smashing it. And he's going to talk a little bit about running into a big wall after he smashed the first mile. And then Bonnie Blackwell, she finished her first half marathon. She was actually there for the 7-mile half marathon that we got lightninged out. And so she was very disappointed. She did not get to go to Magic Kingdom. So she was able to get her first half marathon under her belt and talk about that experience and the experience of Main Street for the first time and all those things and just everything. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and hopefully encourage you, because, man, 2 months from now there will be registration for the 2027 weekend. Disney is there. You got to register for these things about a year out. But let's talk about pre-race. Let's talk about Expo. So I want to hear from you guys. And so this was coming down, and Bonnie, you were getting ready for your first half marathon.
Correct.
And there were probably some nerves and some different. Looking at the weather forecast to make sure we weren't going to get any more lightning.
Absolutely.
And get that. For those of you that don't know, it was basically you would get these texts and these little emails from Run Disney, and I remember when I got because I was down there again, and I remember when I got that when they were changing the half marathon I was like, oh man, I'm like, it's not going to be good. She is not going to be. It's funny. You were down there for that one.
Yes.
And we actually had a half marathon get canceled on the weekend. And I can't remember maybe it was like 7 or 8 years ago, but I had two friends were down there. Reed Boyer being one of them, who you guys know, but they were going to do their first half, and then it got completely canceled because there was going to be lightning early on, so they couldn't get the course set up. And so I was just sitting there thinking, like, oh man, I said, now I got another friend down here, and she's not going, because I knew whenever they changed it to 7 miles, I'm like, we ain't going to Magic Kingdom.
No.
I'm like, there's no way we're going to Magic Kingdom. And so I'm looking forward to hearing about your experience there. So let's talk about pre-race. Let's talk about the Expo. What was your guys' experience? I've been down there now this is my 16th year going down for this weekend, 13th doing Dopey. If I hadn't told you before, I'm a perfect Dopey.
1 of 337.
Yeah,
unless somebody dropped out this year.
I think some people dropped out. We're pretty sure. We got a guy in our Facebook groups that he figures all that stuff out and gets it all done for us. But so I'm. How did the pre-race, the Expo? For those of you that maybe aren't that familiar with Disney, the Expo is something that is you go in and you get your bibs, you read all your registrations done, but you go in, you get your bibs, pick them up, and then you go through a little vendor expos, got anything running you can imagine, and then they have the Disney merchandise. And so how'd that go for you guys? When did you guys get down there? The expo starts on Wednesday, the day before the 5K and the beginning of the Dopey Challenge. How'd that go for you guys?
We got down on Sunday. We actually went to Universal for a couple days and stood in line for the new Harry Potter ride for 4.5 hours on Tuesday.
That is correct.
I heard all about it.
So when we got to Disney, we checked in early, no problem. Room wasn't ready. Stored our luggage, got on a bus. It was easy. It was clearly marked. It was right there. Went straight to the expo, and it looked like we were going to be in line for 4 more hours. But we weren't. It wound all the way around the wide world of sports, baseball fields. The line did, but it didn't. It took hardly any time. And there was no line when we got in there for Bonnie to get her bib for the half. She walked right up to the window and had it in 20 seconds probably.
Yeah.
Could have done the same thing for the 5K, but when we registered, I couldn't get in. Bonnie bought a half and a 5K, and then we had to transfer her 5K to me. There was a little bit of a line to contend with to get to runner relations, but it went, considering the number of people who had questions and the complicated nature of changing things, we were probably in line for an hour, which was nothing when you looked at the number of people and how long we could have been there.
Yeah.
So we can't really speak for the actual expo because we didn't go in because of 2 years ago. It was so ridiculous. We didn't elect to do that this year. But as far as getting to Wide World of Sports, getting the bibs, having a pretty significant, it wasn't a problem, but having a pretty significant challenge solved, it went about as smoothly as I think it probably could go.
Yeah, it did. We, of course, we went into the building where the actual expo was because we had to pick up our T-shirts over there. But we didn't look at any of that stuff. What we did not do that we did the first time was merchandise because I didn't want to wait for the virtual queue because I think we waited for our virtual queue time for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, but that wasn't
that
wasn't active waiting. That was we got in the virtual queue when we were in our pre-Disney hotel at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And we watched the numbers climb up. So we weren't like standing in line or anything, but still it was a huge chunk of the day that we didn't want to continue.
Yeah, it was a huge chunk of the day, and I had looked at the merchandise, and a lot of the stuff that I wanted they actually didn't do this year.
Yeah.
Like they didn't do the lounge fly, they didn't do the ears. They didn't do that stuff. So I was like, well, I'm not interested in anything else. So we just opted out of that. But the actual expo, getting the bills and stuff was just super easy.
So what do you think about your shirts, your actual race shirts? There's a lot of it's 50-50 on either you love them or you hate them.
They never have a 3X to begin with. And because Bonnie had registered instead of me, we couldn't switch the size anyway. We could have stood in line to switch the size, but all the 2Xs were gone. Yeah. So I've got no opinion because I don't have one.
Yeah. I haven't actually put them on yet. I have looked at them. I'm not a particular fan. I like the ones I got 2 years ago a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that have not seen them, they have these big, huge rectangles. If you imagine, if you go back to, remember going to the mall and getting heat presses? Big hole. It's not heat press, but it's like that thing. And I put one on just to feel it, and it's I'm not a big fan. They're just too big. It's one big, huge print on the front. They look cool. They look really good. But I don't like the way they feel. But, I mean, that's just a small.
And that was me. I didn't like the way it felt just holding it in my hands. I was like, it feels crinkly or weird. I just didn't care for it.
Yeah, it's a lot. And for those of you who don't know what they're talking about with the virtual queue, it used to be up until a couple years ago, you would just go through and you'd go through the vendor. When you come out of getting your bibs, that's the little sign for those of you that don't run. That's the little sign that you put on you have to put that on during the race. And it's got a number on it, and that's how they identify you. Then you go into an area that's got, all kind of different things, socks and shoes and all kind of. They have, like, Brooks came up with their own Disney shoes this year that were really cool, really expensive, but really cool. And then you can go into the actual Disney merchandise area. And they changed that a couple years ago, where now you have to get in the virtual queue, just like you're doing a ride. For those of you that are used to doing riser resistance or Guardians that have been in virtual queues before. That's what you have to do. So it's not as simple as just showing up and doing it. I actually got there Wednesday right when they were open. We got there Tuesday night, and we actually stayed. First 2 nights we stayed at Art of Animation, and then we switched over to Copper Creek Villas. And Art of Animation we were really impressed with it. They have like a little family suite that's got it's got a bedroom, and then it's got a pull-out couch, and it's got this where the table is. It's actually got this bed that comes out of the wall and goes down, which was pretty cool. But I got over there early, and so I was one of the first ones in line. So I got through really quick and went to the expo. But I know this year they changed for you dopey runners, where because people go into those merchandise lanes and they were just buying it all up. They'd go in and they'd buy 10 dopey sweatshirts, and then the next day they'd have them on eBay selling them for double the money. They did make it this year where with dopey you had to show your bib or proof that you were in to get a merchandise, and they kept it down to where one SKU you could buy like a 2X. You couldn't buy a large, extra large, and 2X of it. So, that was pretty cool. But I don't get the merch. I mean, I get I get 6 shirts for doing the dopey, and I've got them. Heck, you go next door to the warehouse we're sitting in. I've got like 4 bags of them over there. I'm trying to figure out how to store them all and where to keep them. But yeah, I mean, they did all that right. They managed it well. Disney does a good job of getting all that stuff going. So that covers the expo. Now let's move over to the 5K. So you've done a 5K before. You did Disney. You jumped in and talked about the experience there and how it can be overwhelming with that amount of people. And for those of you that don't know, they just announced they're actually going to expand the 5K numbers for all Disney races.
I saw that while we were there.
Yeah. And so that's I got a few comments about that, but I want to hear. Let's talk about your experience and what was different, what was the same, what was better, what was worse. Walk us through that, Jed, for the 5K.
I think because Bonnie registered herself, and then I had to change it, I got credit for her placement last time, or her whatever they gave her credit for. I was in a different corral. I was closer to the. I wasn't in the middle, but I wasn't last either. I was probably closer to 2/3 of the way done. Started about 5:45, and did a really fast first mile. For me, I don't run much. My back hurts. I'm old. I'm fat. My knees hurt, but I am moving. So my first mile, and you saw me about a half mile. My first mile was about 12 and a half minutes. It was sub 13, which is a light jog for me.
Yep.
I was feeling really good about it. And then I got to World Showcase to get I think that's at about 1.3, 1.4 miles, somewhere in there. And I discovered that I had caught a group of about 1,000 people in which I was slower than every runner and faster than every walker. And I just kind of stood there.
And people were passing you, then you were passing them, passing them.
I would swing out to pass everybody, and a wave of runners would come flying by me, and I'd get sucked back. And then I'd pass all those walkers again, and here came some more runners from behind me who were the faster group of the group that started last. So I did not do as well as I was faster than I was last time.
Yep.
By about 30 seconds. I wanted to shave a couple of minutes off. I wasn't able to do that, but a little more training I probably could have. Had I started 3 weeks before I was going, I probably would have been a little bit better. It was fun. It was it's a pretty neat experience when you're used to walking on the rail trail and you turn a corner and there's a marching band playing.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool experience. Characters didn't blow me away this year. Nothing I really wanted to stop for. There were a couple of the aliens with Buzz Lightyear at one point, which was pretty cool. But I was pretty well head down and focused on getting done, especially when I got caught up in all that traffic. I was, let's see how quick we can get out of here. But it was fun. I like it. World Showcase is my favorite part of Disney World to begin with. And so getting the opportunity to run through there and see it early in the morning. The Christmas decorations are still up. By the time I'm coming through there, the sun's not coming up yet, but it's right at dawn. So it was really neat by there.
Yeah, and this is, you're being modest, but this is a part of your 60-pound weight loss journey as well.
It is moving a little bit more.
Yeah. That you've been on. And
I certainly never thought I would run 3 miles intentionally at any point in my life.
Yeah. Well, you looked a lot better when I saw you right there at probably about a half mile in. Yeah. You looked a lot better
than 2 years
this time
ago.
than you did 2 years ago. I mean, you're okay. I'm kind of on a mission to go do something.
I was until the wall happened.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing with the 5K, and that's what it gives me a little bit of pause about expanding those numbers, because thing with the 5K is they don't do a great job of, and this is this is one of those topics that causes a lot. People start pulling out pitchforks and stabbing each other with them when you start talking about Club Run Disney. Club Run Disney gets special preferential corral placement, and so you'll have people that maybe doing a 17, 18-minute mile. Well, they get put in Corral A because they're in Club Run Disney, and it can create it create one of the cons that I'm going to talk about over the whole week, all 4 races, was racer etiquette. I mean, it was on both sides. I'm talking about walkers and runners. I mean, it got real dicey out there a few times. I mean, tension out there between people. But the 5K seems to be, you just get everything mixed in. Where, like you said, what corral were you in?
E.
Okay, so you were in E, and it was E, F, G. So there were 2 corrals behind you. That you'll find people in F and G that somehow maybe they didn't have a proof of time. I don't know, but they end up there and they're running wide open. They might be running a 20.
They'll do the race in 24 minutes.
Yeah. And then you might have some people in Corral A that are doing a 20-minute mile. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's not about how fast you're doing it, but what happens is you start having these collisions on course. The interactions with all these people, when you got that many people you're trying to get on a course like that. And man, it got, for the 5K especially, there were a couple of times. Now, I was in Corral B, and I got there, and I was right at the beginning of Corral B, and so it wasn't as congested as, it was still, there was a lot of differences between walkers and runners, and the whole etiquette thing of, don't walk 4 or 5 across and block the whole road. Right. Then you get runners running. We'll talk about this more in the half and the full, but I mean, like, people just running in the grass, and you're supposed to be walking on the right. Well, the whole road will be blocked. So runners are going around the right, and there were a lot of reports of runners running on the right and then bumping into the walkers, coming back in, and you got that walker on the right doing what they're supposed to do, and the runner goes around them on the right side in the grass and then runs into them, and all those things. Emotions get into it, and they on social they kind of get overblown. It's always a little bit worse than it probably really was, but that 5K can get real dicey, and especially, and like a lot of the problem is us dopey runners, because for a lot of people in that dopey, I mean, they might be able to run a 24-minute 5K, but
better not.
But they're not. But they're walking the whole time, so they might be in Corral A, Corral B, and they start from the very beginning. And they're walking from the very beginning, and it can just create a little bit of congestion. But all in all, good race. Like I said, the nothing overwhelming, good or bad happened during it. But just getting that 5K out of the way, and then the 10K the next day. That was it's a good course. You go through Epcot, go through World Showcase, then go out on Boardwalk, make that loop, and then come back in. The 10K went good. It was nothing remarkable happened. It gets a little bit more spread out, as the longer the distances get, the more spread out everything gets. But the 10K went good. Kind of managed that, as I was looking at. My original plan was to go slower first 3, and then try to hit the marathon a little bit harder. And we'll talk about how that all went to pot when we get to the half marathon here in a second. But yeah, that went 10K went good. Now let's get to the half.
Yes. And
talk about the half, and Miss Bonnie, you had that experience of being able to go to Disney. You were excited, all those things, and then kind of got the rug pulled. Now, one of the things you did get to do on the half is run around World Showcase,
that is correct,
which you don't get to do in the regular normal half. So that wasn't one bright side, but you didn't get to go to the Magic Kingdom. So let's start in the morning, or maybe even the night before, nerves. what time you got up, transportation over there, all those things leading up to the beginning of the race.
So, when I did it 2 years ago, I was very anxious about the bus, about catching the bus. We were over at Saratoga Springs this year, which when we checked in, we were talking to the lady that checked us in and told her we were doing the races and everything. And she actually put us in a really good, because, if you've ever been to Saratoga Springs, it's spread out. I mean, there's a lot of buildings out through there. And we had a direct walk from our room straight over to where the bus was. Even though we were not at the front, but she put us in a room where we could go over a little bridge, and it was just a straight shot over. Yep. So that wasn't an issue. And honestly, with it being, we did the bus thing twice 2 years ago, and then I'd already done it with Jed. So I was like, well, heck, I don't have to be on that bus till like 3:45. Mm-hmm. I'm doing pretty good. So I think you beat me there.
Yeah.
When I was texting you that morning. So the bus was an issue. I think we took it pretty easy in the parks on Friday. I think we got back to the room around 3:30.
I think we left Hollywood Studios about 3:30.
Well, no,
we
left Magic Kingdom about 3:30.
So we're back by 4.
Because we had to go meet your daughter, Kate, over at Magic Kingdom and get my AirPods because I had left them at home, and you were nice enough to bring them to Disney with you.
I was reminded 27 times. And I finally said, if you ask again, then I'm
going to leave them.
I'm going to 100% forget them.
So obviously, when we went over there to meet her, I had to go ride Pirates. So we did that, and we did not leave the hotel again after we got back on around 3:30. Went to bed around 9. Got up at 3. I felt really, really good Saturday morning. At the start of that race.
Well, and you talk about the bus. We stayed. So we were Art of Animation the first 2 nights, Tuesday and Wednesday night, and then we moved over to Copper Creek. And for the 10K on Friday, the bus came to Copper Creek, which is at Wilderness Lodge, left there and went to the Contemporary, then came down. And so the bus trip took a lot longer than where we usually stay at Animal Kingdom. It's where we like to stay. Now, loved Copper Creek, and it was really loved that resort. So then on Saturday, because I'm usually like, I want to get the last bus. I mean, that makes some people nervous even saying, but I'm like, I want to be on the last bus because take you right there, walk right into your crowd and go. But they kind of changed it. And this year being in B, I was in A. I've been in A for a few, and I missed the cutoff time there by like 2 minutes on my half marathon time to be able to get in A. So I was in B. Well, when that bus, I walked out of the Wilderness Lodge, and the bus was sitting there, got right on it, and I was anticipating we're going to go to Contemporary. It's going to take a little bit to get there. Well, got on the bus, and it's full. And I was the last person to get on the bus, and so the bus didn't go to Contemporary. It turned, and there's like 2 or 3 little back road turns, and we were at Epcot. And so I was there earlier than I'd ever been there for a race on that half. Well, now the way they do it, when the corrals, A corral starts in the starting chute. That's where their corral is. B does not have a staging corral. B is just a walkthrough. So you just you walk all the way over to the starting corral, and you're by the G corral, and you got to get over there. And so I walked over there and got in there. Next thing I know, they got like a little barrier between A and where you were, and there must have been, there was 300 people, and it was because then because I was shocked. I got there before y'all did.
Yeah.
And you had texted me, was like, hey, where are you? I was like, well, I'm standing down here in the corral at the starting thing. And so I was there really earlier than I usually am, which felt a little bit weird. But so you get to your corral, and
yes.
you're standing around watching everybody start. How'd that experience go? How'd that make you feel? And then nerves. You talked about the balloon ladies weren't that far behind you to start.
Let's talk about Corral G for a second. I've decided. I decided while we were down there that in 2028, I'm going to do the full marathon. It's probably going to be the only race I do. I'm going to do the full. And I will not go back down there and do it without having a proof of time because I refuse to be in the last corral. Yeah. Now, my proof of time may still put me in the last corral, but I will have at least tried to not be in the last corral and it was fine. I got in there and I was about I wasn't at the front, but I was a little bit further up than in the middle.
Yeah.
And, of course, you start watching everybody's taking off. Everybody's doing their thing.
And let me say this about the G corral, the last corral. You will, if you want to be at the front of that corral, then I'm talking about the second that they open security, you better be there because there's a lot of people get to the very front of that corral they don't feel like they can make it. Yeah. Based on their times. And so they want to get as far ahead of the balloon ladies as they can.
And I did not necessarily want to be in the very front of the corral. I felt like my time was fine. Yeah. I'd been having some good minutes, some good training. So I felt fine being kind of towards the front, but in the middle. I felt fine. Well, so everybody's going, well, they obviously they walk you around, like you go up, I guess it was the chute that y'all had been in to go up to the start through where the A corral had been. And they did that with all of them. And we started moving, and it was like Armageddon or something. Like the zombie apocalypse was behind us because everybody that was at the back just started rushing up when it started moving. And the next thing I know, I'm like, well, I'm not going to get knocked over before my race ever even starts. So I was just,
it's like
being easy and being careful.
It's like the best way you can describe it is, you remember when Avatar first opened in Animal Kingdom?
Yes.
And you would rope drop it and you would start and they would keep you. They would literally have and they would be walking you towards it.
Yes.
And there would just be this massive people. And I mean, every single inch of any kind of light that you could see was just getting squeezed in by people. And you had, at that point, my kids give me a hard time about it. It's like, Dad, we have PTSD from like being in these lines when I'm like, listen, we're gonna hold hands. It's like and I tell them, hold the line, don't let anybody through. And
so
that's what you were experiencing.
So we finally get over there, and I turn around, and there's maybe 60 to 100 people between me and the balloon ladies. Like oh God, I'm gonna be in the last group to go off, and I was in the very last group that went off.
Were you anxious about that?
Honestly, no.
Well, that's good.
I felt like I was fine. I was like, I might have to. I did need to use the bathroom at that point in time. I was like, I'm going to have to go a little ways before I feel like I'm far enough to stop, because the bathroom lines were long on the course towards the beginning. So I guess I got about a 5K in before I stopped. But no, I was like, okay, they're behind me. I might have to push myself a little bit, but I'm fine.
Sweet. Well, so you get going. The balloon ladies are behind you.
Yes.
And you're taking off. So let's talk about the course. When this course starts, it's a little bit, you start in Epcot. Basically, you're running the Magic Kingdom and you run back. Mm-hmm. That's the half marathon course in a nutshell. So how'd you do on those first? I've always felt like the first 2 or 3 miles of the half. They changed the full now. We'll talk about that in a second. But first 2 or 3 miles of the half is the hardest part of that race because you're just out on that main road.
Honestly, I don't feel that way.
Really?
It helped settle me in.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot to look at. Yeah, there's a few characters. There's some I can't remember. I think there was a marching band in those first 3 or so miles. But it allowed me time to, okay, this is what you need to do. Just you do your timing the way you always do it. Don't rush it. Just settle in. And I didn't think that part was bad at all.
Yeah.
It allowed me time to not get in my head.
So I hate that part. I hate that part. That's the worst part of the race for me.
The last little bit was the worst part for me.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it. So you you get down to when did you start feeling the Magic Kingdom vibe? Because we don't run underneath the Magic Kingdom entryway like we used to. Now we kind of go around it and go down to the Polynesian and come in that way. But when you saw the Magic Kingdom, the parking area where you go in, when did you start kind of getting that?
So when I really started to get excited when I saw when you're driving in and you can see the big sign of the Magic Kingdom parking lot sign. I was like, okay, we're getting kind of close now.
Yeah.
And then you turn, and then, of course, you go by Polynesian, and they're doing some road construction in there. So it is kind of, but when we hit the Grand Floridian, I'm like, we're really close to the Magic Kingdom. So I really started getting excited right around the Magic Kingdom because, they've built that pathway back there now. And then you get to, they had the water pageant, little floats out, playing that music.
That's such a good touch.
And I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe they have the water pageant out here. That is so cool. And the sun's coming up, and it's beautiful out there. It was a beautiful morning.
Mm-hmm.
That is when it started to get a little hot, was when the sun started to come up. But then, you go down, and you're coming in where the monorail comes in, and then you start seeing the cast members. And they're waving at you and telling you you're doing a great job. Just keep on going. And then when you hit that gate and you go in, we were talking about it yesterday. Somehow or another, it gets quiet.
It gets deafeningly quiet.
And I don't understand. I don't know if it's because you're under the train and you just can't hear the sound, but it's quiet. And then you go out and it's like a huge roar of people.
Yeah.
All the people on Main Street.
Thousands of people.
Let me interrupt right here from a spectator's perspective and tell you how cool it is.
Because he was on Main Street.
And tell you how, I saw both of you come through, tell you how cool it is to be in that thousands of people. It's the biggest celebratory mood that you have ever seen. Everybody's cheering for everybody. I sat for a while because I'm cognizant of how large I am as a human being and people can't see either over me or around me. When I'm in crowds like that, I wait until the last possible minute to go somewhere. And I was tracking both of you. I saw when you were coming, and I asked somebody about where are we. They said 5.2 miles. So when you got to 5 miles, I walked over to see you. Same with you, Bonnie. But it's such a great atmosphere in there. I think everybody is kind of taking advantage of wandering as far as they can in Magic Kingdom when you're, in quotes, not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Because everybody's pushing the limits and walking right up to the rope and getting all the pictures they can get. It's just, as cool as it was for y'all to be cheered on by those people, it was equally cool to be in that element.
Yeah, because the person that's there, like Jed was there to cheer me and he was there to cheer you, but everybody's cheering for you.
Yeah.
And I saw people, obviously I saw Jed, and you were taking pictures of me, and I reached. I could touch. I think I touched you, but he was, not right there in the front. But I saw, mothers going up to their like newborn babies and kissing them, and it was just, it's an incredible experience running down Main Street into that park.
It is, and that was when they canceled it or when they modified the course a couple of years ago, and you weren't going to get to do it. I was like, man, that's. You talk about the quiet. It is just when you're coming down that pathway, and for those of you who've never done it before, you basically it empties you out right if you get where you get off the monorail and where some of the resort boat launches are. That's where you come back in. You're coming down that pathway from the Grand Floridian. Then you go through the where security or where you scan your magic bands or whatever, and then you enter that little tunnel where. I don't know how far that is, but it is just quiet.
Very quiet.
It's like nothing's going on the other side of that wall. You come out of that tunnel, and then it's just like an explosion.
Yeah, it was incredible
of people, and then you come in, and the thing I like about it is you don't see the castle right when you come in.
Mm-mm.
You come in and you take that little left turn, and then bam, on Main Street you take that right, and it's like there's the castle. You got all these people are just cheering you on. The good thing on your bib, it's got your name. And so you get people that got no idea who you are. I was like, oh, go Kevin. You got this.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you come in, and so you're going down Main Street. That obviously gives you this huge jolt. And leave Main Street, walk us through the rest of Magic Kingdom, and take us home.
So I got down the end of Main Street. I did stop and take a selfie in front of the castle. I didn't stop for any of the photos, but I did stop and take a selfie. So then you get back, you take that left and you go back down towards Adventureland, which is my favorite part of Magic Kingdom.
We used to not get to go by there, but I know how much you like pirates. We used to not get to.
I kind of wish it had been open. I would have been like, do I have time to ride it? Which I pray. It's a long ride, so probably not. But and then you run through and you come back up through Liberty Square and through Fantasyland, and I was really impressed with all the cast members that were there and how they cheer everybody on. Like if they're there at work, they go outside, they're dancing, they're cheering. They look like they're just genuinely happy to be there, pulling for people. And of course then you go out the other side and go out through Tomorrowland, so you see a good bit of Magic Kingdom as you run through there. And you see a lot more Magic Kingdom than you do Epcot.
And that's a big change from a few years ago. We used to not get to see all that.
Yeah, it was it was a lot of fun running through Magic Kingdom. Of course, that part. Then you get out of Magic Kingdom. And, at one point in time, you text me, I was on my way back to Epcot, and you're like, well, the hard part's over. And I'm like, no. Not for me. The easy part was getting to Magic Kingdom because I wanted to be there so bad.
Yep.
And then you come out, and thank goodness you text me about that big hill coming up by the Contemporary. And then you hit the ticket and transportation center. And then you realize, oh, God, I got to run all the way back to Epcot.
Yeah. That's right. Halfway home.
I think that is when the anxiety started for me, is when I left Magic Kingdom.
And that's when it started heating up.
It's when it started getting hot. Yeah. You tried your best to get back to the TTC, but apparently the monorail.
I was on the most crowded monorail in the history of monorail.
Apparently the monorail was a madhouse. And you told me about the little, you're going to get a snack. So I was like, okay. So I got my snack. I slowed down a little bit right there. And then it got hot. And I was really glad at that point in time that I live in the state of South Carolina, where I live, and that I train the hardest in the middle of the summer.
That really is a difference maker for people, because it was like, we'll talk about in the marathon. The marathon actually got cut short for some people because of the heat. And, it did get hotter, but it wasn't like for us here. It's like, well, this is like normal, normal weather. It's not.
Yeah, it was normal. But I did see people getting sick. And I don't know where they trained or how much they trained. My guess is they're from up north. Yeah. And they weren't used to that humidity. It was very humid. Yeah. From the very beginning of the race, even when it was dark.
Yeah, that's the problem. You look at the temperature, and the temperature might not be like this 90-degree temperature, but the humidity's so high, especially that early in the morning with all the dew out and all, it's just really, really hot. And you're packed in with a bunch of people, trying to run a race.
I kept expecting it at some point in time for the crowd to spread out. And I don't know if it's because of how I started and I was able to move up as far as I did once we got started, but I was in groups of several thousand people the entire race.
Yeah.
It never spread out like I thought it would. That caused me a little bit of anxiety when we were running. I got to a few spots coming back towards Epcot where it goes down to like one lane when you're doing some of the ramps and stuff, where literally everybody was just walking and you could not get around them. Well, it was impossible.
And I think you finished right at half. You were like, 16,000 people?
Yeah, there was over 16,000 and I was like 85, 17, I think.
So you started, see, why you were in that crowd the whole time is where you started right at the very back.
Yeah.
And you passed a bunch of people.
I passed a bunch of people.
And as you're passing them, they're coming backward, you're going forward. And so you were never able to get out in the open because
Which is another reason I never want to be in the last corral again.
Yeah. Yeah. But so, all right, so you're coming down, when you leave Magic Kingdom, you're coming down, you spend a lot of time on pavement, coming out, I think that's World Drive, and then you make the turn and you go back towards Epcot. When did you start? Because I know your last 3 miles were you were on the struggle bus a little bit on those. When did you kind of cross the bridge of, okay, I'm really gonna finish this. This is gonna happen.
I think when I saw mile marker 10, my legs, by the time I got to mile marker 10, I felt fine as far as physically fine as far as breathing. I wasn't tired. My legs hurt really bad at that point in time. My legs were very tired. And I was like, well, I can push through 3 more miles. I'm going to finish. I might not finish as quickly as I want to, but I'm going to finish this race.
Nothing but a little 5K.
Right.
But the hardest 5K of your entire life.
Hardest 5K of my life. That is not a lie. It was hot, and I was like, my legs were like, can you please just stop? And I'm like, no, we're not stopping. Yep. We do a 5K 4 times a week. We've got this. And I was like, I've got one more, because I would run for 3 minutes and walk for 1.5 minutes. I was like, I got one more 3-minute run in me. And I was like, I'm going to do it at 2 hours, 57 minutes and just see where I'm at that point in time. And then I'll run the last bit. And I was almost at the end of that 3 minutes. I was right at about 12.5 miles. Yeah. So then I got to mile 13. That's the only mile marker I took a picture with. Yeah. I turned around, took a selfie with that one, and then ran from there to the finish. Nice. And finished in 3 hours, 9 minutes.
Now, how'd that feel when you came across that finish line?
Oh, my God. It was fantastic. Yeah. I was like, I can't believe I just did that.
Pretty intense.
It is. It is an intense feeling, of course. And then you've got what they call the pit. You've got all those people from, like, Michigan and stuff falling out over there. And I was just like, all right, give me my banana and my Gatorade. Let's go do some park stuff.
Get your medal.
Get my medal.
Did you wear your medal out to the parks?
I did. I took it off at some point in time because it got a little heavy. And it was hot in the parks that day. But yeah, I think we went to Animal Kingdom that morning, and then we went to where did we go?
Epcot.
Epcot that evening. I had it with me all day.
Awesome.
I didn't wear it all day, but I had it with me all day.
No. Well,
that's awesome. Great.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm so glad you got to get your redemption from 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was great.
So what would you say to people thinking about possibly jumping into that half marathon Disney style race?
I will guarantee you there's not another half marathon like it.
Yeah, that's true. Those are the facts.
It's not a hard course to run. I mean, there are some hilly areas, coming up by Contemporary, some of the like exit ramps and stuff when you're making your turns. It can get, there's a couple, it's a fairly easy course though.
Yeah.
So it's not like challenging in that aspect. You do still need to train for it because you never know what the weather's going to do. Yeah. You never know if it's going to be 48 degrees and raining or 80 degrees and humid. Yeah. But
literally.
I wish I had trained a little bit more so that my legs hadn't got as tired, because you are still running 13.1 miles.
Oh yeah.
So
you don't fake your way through it.
No, you don't fake your way through it. It's if you've never done one, you still need to train for it and train for it correctly. Yep. But there's not I don't think there's anything out there that's going to beat it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I had I was kind of in the same boat. I didn't train. I think I told y'all leading up to this one, I'm probably as unprepared as I've ever been for one of the Adobe challenges.
Yes.
And we talk about race strategies and stuff, and you kind of got to pick one of the races, the half or the full. Of what do you want to push a little bit on? Because you can't push on both of them. I mean, it's just, you can try, but it won't work. and I had a pretty good 10K, felt pretty good, and then felt pretty good Saturday morning, and took off and started in the half. And as I was going, I was like, man, I feel pretty good. Man, we talked about this on the podcast leading up to it of, you'll feel good. And, I mean, I literally, it was like everything that I talked about on the podcast, like felt good was, so, I'm going to push a little bit. About halfway through, I'm like, I'll just make the half marathon my one that I'm going to push a little. And so, stepped it up a little bit and finished and had a pretty good time for my training. I had a pretty good time. And when I finished, I knew, I was like, okay, you're probably going to have a pretty long day tomorrow.
I knew at the point where you passed, because like I said, they have an app. You can scan it and you can track runners.
Yeah.
So I was tracking a couple of y'all and a couple of other people I knew from Spartanburg who were going to be running.
Yeah.
And you looked pretty fast.
Yeah.
At 5 miles, 5.5 miles, I could tell it was pretty quick.
I felt good. I mean, it was, I don't know. I felt good, and I was pushing, and you kind of get caught up in it. You go through Magic Kingdom, and you get fired up, and then you come out. I was like, well, man, I'm this close. Well, let's see how I feel. And so Saturday, I started feeling tired. I was like, okay, this is. And so I didn't stay out. I got back to the place early. In fact, I think I missed y'all in Epcot.
Yeah.
I think I was going out about the time y'all were coming. And so Sunday for the full, man, I woke up and I was just like, holy cow, this is gonna be a long day. I mean, I'm talking about from the time I got out of the bed, I was like, this is gonna be a long day. And so I got there, got to the race, got going, and first half was kind of okay. I mean, the full marathon course is a little bit different, and it goes through Epcot first, then you head to Magic Kingdom, and then you come out and you run about 1.5 miles in the parking lot of Magic Kingdom, and that's halfway. Then you go over to Animal Kingdom and come, and it did. I mean, the temperature it was significantly warmer on the marathon day. Of course, you're getting further up into the day, and after about halfway, it was a battle. I mean, it was at that point. It was like, you know what? I'm gonna be doing a tremendous amount of walking, and when you start the death march, it's a long day, and then it started getting hotter, and people were literally just falling out on the side of the road. And but anyway, I got through and made it through, and no injuries, no anything, able to get the challenge done. But then you find out I was sitting on the bus going back, and I got an alert that they were cutting the course, and so they cut Blizzard Beach out of the course. They cut about 2 miles, 1.75 miles or so. They cut it out of the course because of the heat, and so it's funny, you heard those stories of people that were in Blizzard Beach that were doing that part of it, and then they cut the course. Well, when they cut the course, those people finished up Blizzard Beach, which was about 1.75 miles, so it could have taken them anywhere from 20 minutes to 30 minutes, just depending. Well, when they got back out on the road heading to Hollywood Studios, well, the balloon ladies were there.
Oh, my God.
Because the balloon ladies, obviously, they intentionally, they're the last people to start, and they do 16-minute miles because that's the cutoff. And so they get dumped back in. Well, then the balloon ladies show up. And so these people are like, they were just panicking. They're like, man, I thought, I had a buffer and everything was going good. And then bam. And, and that's right at mile 22. So you hadn't even got to Hollywood Studios yet. And they were just panicking because the balloon ladies were there. But obviously they still had their full time to be able to do it. But marathon, looking back on it, I mean, it's tough, I mean, we're in the same business, and December's a really, really hard month. And it's like I've told you, and I didn't take the advice, you need to be prepared by November. By Black Friday, we're in retail. By Black Friday, you need to be prepared.
Yeah.
Because December's a crapshoot. And I didn't follow my own advice there, so it just made for a long day on Sunday for me. But was able to finish and stay perfect and keep my thing going for that for one more year. We'll see how long that goes, but man, just a good weekend. You know, starting off with Jed with his strong 5K, looking good till he ran into the wall. You know, I think you forgot. You know, you're like me. We're the biggest people on the courses, so you can just run. You can just run over people. I mean, won't be rude.
I did knock a girl down, not on purpose. It was one of my run periods, and I just started. I was probably 12 steps into a jog, and she just I saw her on my left, and she just reversed direction right in front of me, and it takes me a minute to get stopped.
Yeah, well,
so I helped her up and went on with it.
Well, I had one in the half marathon where it was almost before mile 5.
Yeah, and
this is right when you get on the little pathway, which is pretty narrow. Well, I'm on the left running a pretty good clip, and there's a girl that's in front of me, and she's running. I mean, I was just kind of like right behind her because that little pathway gets pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty narrow.
Pretty narrow. So there was 2 or 3 walkers on the right, and really like one lane over here to run in. So I'm just running, and then I mean, she just like stopped on a dime. Right. I mean, just not even to walk. She was stopping to take a picture of I guess she was going to take one electrical parade, and I just ran right in. I mean, and I'm 3 times her size.
Right.
So what I did, I mean, thankfully I was looking, so I just kind of grabbed her arms because she was going face plant because she was about to get run over by a bulldozer. And so she's like, I'm sorry. I was like, you're fine. So it scared me. I was like, I didn't want to kill you. I was going to run over you. And but that's some of the stuff. You know, we talk about the pros and cons, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on, you know, the cool things and then the things that you see. The biggest, man, just out there because it's so crowded. Just I don't know what y'all saw and what you saw out on the half, but that runner etiquette piece of just, you know, on both sides, walkers and runners, you know, it just got a little bit tense out there a few times.
I'm the world's most casual runner, so I'm not gonna. I'm sound like an idiot when I say this, but expanding the 5K is going to add more casual runners, and I don't know how you're going to get started before 6:30.
Yeah.
So you'll have been standing there in some cases 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Before you run a step.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to manage that. I mean, obviously we don't know how many they're going to add.
Right, but it was 5:45 when Corral E went, and I was among the last in E. Yeah. But it was 5:45 before E got started this year. Still had F and G to go.
Yeah. I will tell you because I was waiting at the finish line, and it was after 6 by the time the last group went off.
Yeah,
it was like 6:10. 6:15, something like that by the time, because there's DJs up there, you know, pumping the crowd up and playing music and talking to the runners as they're coming in. And they had said at one point, we think the last group has gone off. And then she said, oh, no, there went off some more fireworks. We think that was the last group. Mm-hmm. And it was every bit of 6:15.
Oh, yeah. And that's what, you know, and it's on both sides. I mean, if you're in A or B corral and you're running just a normal pace, you're going to finish, you know, 30 minutes before the last person starts.
Right.
And so you're understanding, which is good. I mean, if you've got somebody that you know that's running, it's pretty cool because you're able to go over there like I was able to catch you.
Able to get back.
And say that. But then you just kind of sit and you have to wait because where the buses leave to go back to the resorts, it's right where the start.
And you can't go anywhere.
You can't go anywhere. But it'd be interesting to see what they do, how they manage adding people to the 5K, and how they get. You're right. It could be you could be pushing on up 6:30 or so before.
Right.
You know, before they're able to start. What'd you see out on that half marathon course?
So as far as runner etiquette goes, I did see most everybody. I mean, I'm sure there are some that run the whole thing, but a lot of people are doing run walk. Mm. I would say 80% are run walk. in my experience, most of the people, when they were getting ready to walk, would signal that they were getting ready to walk and not just dead stop.
Yeah.
The problem came when you got in some of the narrow spaces. They, and I get it. It's a fun atmosphere. It's a fun race to do. Not everybody takes it like as serious as if they were running like the Boston Marathon or something, because it's Disney and it's fun, and I get that. But you don't need to do your walk 5 across in a group of friends and talk about what you're going to eat at Epcot in a couple of hours as you're doing your walk session, because there are people they're right in the middle of their run time and they would like to go by you.
Yeah.
And you have zero space
to
do that.
And that kind of cascades on itself, because what will happen then is they will get blocked, and so runners will then they'll veer out on the grass to the right and get out on the grass and run, and then cut back in, and then they might run into the walkers, or you can get over there. I mean, I spent quite a bit of time during the half, especially during the first part of the half, running in the grass just getting over. And some of it was just, I just got over because it was getting out that first few miles. There was just a lot of congestion, and and I was just trying to think of, okay, I need to get through as much of this as I can before we get to some of these tight spots. Yeah. When you get up towards Magic Kingdom where the construction is, and there's some narrow spots that you run into. And if you're not, walkers, if you, it always creates these fights on social media. It's not that people are saying there's anything wrong with walking or running or anything. Just be aware that you're not the only person on the course.
Right. And that was the problem. They were like, okay, it's our walk session, so let's just walk and talk about what we're going to do in a little bit. We don't care who's behind us or what they're doing. Yeah. So at one point in time, it was just, and I think I text you a picture of, there's just thousands of people, and you were like, well, you can get aggressive. I'm like, I don't think I can. I'm 5'4", and I'm clumsy. So I'm not going to run in the grass because the grass is still wet, and I don't want to slip and fall. But I got into the group because there's the pace groups, which I love the pace groups, by the way. And it was the 3:10 pace group. And they would yell when they were, 3, 2, 1, walk, and 3, 2, 1, run, keeping up that exact 3:10 pace. And we were right there, and I was like, well, heck, I'm just going to get in here with them, because when they start running, they don't care. People get out of the way. People get out of the way.
It's like a bulldozer.
So I'm like, well, I'm just going to run when they run and walk when they walk until it spreads out a little bit and I can start going around some of these people. And that's what I did.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest issue you run into at a Run Disney event. Is the good thing is there's a lot of people that walk that are coming out, and this is the first event like this they've done. So you're getting people that are getting active, and they're walking, they're doing the run. Jeff Galloway, huge proponent of the run walk method. In fact, he's called the Galloway method. Where you running in trouble sometimes is, what you want to do, you want to hold your hand up when you're about to walk, but you don't hold your hand up and stop.
No.
You hold your hand up whenever you get like 3 seconds, and then you just kind of move to the right.
Move to the right.
Then you start walking, and that gives people an opportunity to shift around, and that's why you see so much jockeying at the beginning, and you see this in all corrals, because there's one of the things that drives me nuts, especially like if you're in A or B corral. You're not going to get swept if you're in A or B corral. You got such a huge buffer between you and the balloon ladies,
like an hour,
like
or
an
more.
hour, yeah. But you'll get people that, they're fighting and clawing to be at the very, very front of that corral. And the second it starts, there's 8 people across, just dead walking, just like from the start. And so that first little part, I think that first little part coming at the start, it's the trickiest part of the whole course, because everybody starts at the same time in that little group. And there's walkers, runners. You got people that are like, I'm going for a PR. You got people that are like, hey, I'm out here for a stroll today because I'm doing, and us dopey people are usually the biggest offenders, because you take the half marathon, a lot of them, hey, I'm going to walk the whole thing. and
they can
and that's fine, but get out of the way.
get out of the way.
Get out of people's way, because you got, sometimes the dopey people will forget that, okay, there's 4 individual races going on here, and you got people out here, they're trying to PR their races, or they got goals and other things, and sometimes we get out there and it's like, well, we're looking to finish this 4-race series. Well, no, you can't be selfish like that. You gotta, look, do your thing, but recognize there's other people around you.
Well, and you have people, no matter what this was kind of interesting to realize. I can't remember where we were. I think it was on one of the buses going to one of the parks. We were talking to some people. They were doing dopey. I don't know if they were perfect dopies, but they were doing dopey. And I was telling him it was my first half. He said, "Oh, that's so awesome. You'll get your PR."
Yep.
And I looked, and he's like, "Well, if you've never done 4, it's obviously going to be a PR." And I was like, "Well, that's really cool. I ain't got to stress out about that."
That's right. Well, I know you got a pretty fast one from 2 years ago.
Now the
7
next
miler.
time I do this, I'm like, okay, now I got to beat 3.9.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, it's and logistically, man, they do such a great job. I mean, if you can swing staying on property, it's if you have the constitution to be able to drag yourself out of bed and zombie walk to the bus stop, that's all you got to be able to do. Get on the bus, get there, and they'll take care of it. Jed, what's your final thoughts on marathon weekend?
It's something I definitely do again. When Bonnie runs the full in 28, I'm gonna do the 10.
That's right.
She's doubling hers. I'll double mine. I think that's be about all I'm ready to do.
I kind of threw that out there.
Yeah.
And,
but we are also going to go in on Thursday, which is the last possible day I can go in and register for my race.
Yep.
Or not register, but pick up my bib. We'll go on Thursday, not do parks at all on Friday or Saturday. Just have resort days, hang around, go to Disney Springs, something like that. Take it extremely light and not do anything park related until after the marathon on Sunday, and then stay part of the next week. Instead of going the week before, we're going to go the week after.
That's something I've always, I want to do it. 'Cause we had everybody with us this time, and I just thought about that after I was like, man, I'd like to go back, take a shower, go out, eat dinner, and chill out, go to the parks and do that. Heck, man, I got on the bus and went back and took a shower. We loaded the car, drove home, drove 8 hours home.
How you drove 8 hours home.
It wasn't a great experience, but that is something I kind of want to change our days up a little bit.
That's what we're going to do.
Spend some time after the race where you're not, because everything when you're doing that, especially when you got that last big one looking at you on Sunday, you just know, okay, you got this big hairy gorilla sitting out there ready to jump on your back. Being able to get that done and then go have a good time.
And honestly, from a recovery perspective, with Bonnie running a marathon, I sincerely believe the way she attacks the parks, if she does that the next day, it'll be recovery.
Oh, it will be.
Honestly.
It'll be recovery for me.
Yeah, the worst thing you want to do is when you
sit in the car for 8 hours.
Sit in the car for 8 hours, or just stop, not do anything. So, well, good deal, man. We had a great time, man. It was proud of you guys for what, like I said, you were well on your way to. You got a PR, but you were well on the way to smashing it before you ran into that wall.
I was going to do it in 40 minutes.
Yep.
And then I hit the wall, and I'm not going to. No, you're not actually.
And then with I didn't have the tracker on because it's so crazy out there on the course until after. But I texted Jed, and I was like, "Is she through there? How did she look?" Just like I didn't want anything can happen out on the course. And I was like, I don't want anything to go wrong, and so we were, and then we were crossing. I think me and Jed crossed on the. He was in Magic Kingdom coming to Epcot. I was getting on trying to go to the Ticket Transportation Center to be able to, and I think we both crossed ways, and we ended up. I think neither one of us saw you.
No, neither one of us saw me there.
Yeah. But yeah, just a good time. Good time. Proud of you guys. Proud of the efforts you had to put in to do it. I look forward to the next journey. I think in 2 years, Y'all got a
Yes.
big anniversary, I think, next year. So y'all
Yes.
going to go do something fun.
I'm trying to talk him into Disneyland for our
gosh.
25th wedding anniversary.
I'll do something other than Disney.
That's what I keep saying.
No, hey, whatever. Whatever you want to do.
You threw it out there as the idea.
Yeah, I did. My fault.
I can tell you the second week of January where I'll be next year.
Yep.
Doing it again. Kate, my oldest, asked, was like, Dad, how long are you going to be? I was like, Kate, probably until I either die or I just completely fall apart out on the course. I said, there will be 2 or 3 of us left in 20 years that are out there.
They're still doing it.
Still doing it. I've even thought about, if something happens to me, if my hip goes out of my knee, I was talking to one of the guys in the, what do they call the things? The
push bikes?
The push bikes.
The pedal bikes?
Yeah, I think it was before the half. No, it was before the full. I was talking to one of the dudes, and one of them was an Olympian, and the other guy who came in second, I was talking to him, and he was showing me on the thing, and the tires, they kind of tilt in, and I was like, man, how? I said, but they have these gloves and stuff, but he's like, no, man, he said, man, you train yourself to do it. He said, just like you do in, like you're running. He said, you train yourself to do it. And he was telling me, so man, but they go off first, so they don't get caught up in the big crowds. But some of those tight spots, he said, that's just where it gets a little bit tricky in some of those tight spots. But I told him, I said, man, one day, I said, I've been doing this since I'm 52. I said, 20 years from now, I said, if all my knees and hips and stuff are out, he said, man, you can do it. He said, get you one. He said, y'all try one. I was like, no, man, I can't do that right now. I said, my arms would die on me because they were them dudes are jacked. You look at their arms.
It's crazy to me watching the 5K because they go off first, and they have the ones that like pedal it with their hands.
Yep.
I think those are called pedal chairs or something. And they fly through that 5K.
Oh yeah.
Like they're done in like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my goodness, they're flying on those things.
Yeah, they're smoking. I mean, even like on the half, when we were going out, and I said I was the very beginning of B, so it started at 5:06. I was starting, so I was 6 minutes after the start, and by the time we got out on World Drive, made the turn going down, they're coming back.
Yeah, it was. I didn't see any of them out on the course. They were already done by the time I got started.
Yeah, they were flat smoking it, and so yeah, you just a lot of inspiration out there, a lot of good times. So proud of you guys, proud of everybody that's been listening to us, and hopefully you accomplished all your goals down at Disney, and the whole race season just started. So you got Princess coming up, Wine and Dine later, and then
you ever want to do coast to coast?
I'm gonna.
It sounds like something you would do.
It does, but I think the Dopey is that's where I'm gonna stake my flag.
You know why? It's because he didn't do the first one.
Yeah, I didn't do the first one, so it wouldn't.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to do them all.
You don't have to do them all now.
Well, that's what one of my daughters, she's like, I think I'm gonna do it because my son, he says he's gonna do Dopey next year with me, and Collins actually, well, Dad said if I did that, then do I become perfect Dopey? And I'm like, oh no, young girl. Oh no. Let me explain to you. But
you can be perfect since you start.
Right. Because I think you have to be 18 to run the marathon.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be 18 to do Dopey.
Yeah.
So you can be perfect from the time you turn 18 and are eligible, but you will never be a perfect Dopey.
Yeah, you will not be El Perfecto Dopey. And that's what for the whole month of January, that's what everybody's got to refer to me as, and that's my claim. You got to be good at something, man. You got to be good at something, and that's my deal. But I have thought about the coast to coast, but it's just a lot of logistical stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a lot, and then you get to a point where it's like, okay, how much of your disposable income are you going to spend on Disney?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I looked.
Good question.
Like all of it.
I thought about it, and I was like, my goodness. I mean, because I know how much it costs to register for one race.
Oh, yeah.
You got to register for all of them and fly out to Disneyland and pay to stay. And, you know me, I'm paying a park ticket. So I was like, yeah, no, that's not even close to on my radar.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Maybe if I win the lottery.
And, and they get you. That's why they do these perfect things, is because it gets you locked in, and you're like, okay,
I got to do it.
I got to do it again. I got to do it again. I got to do it again. And, but anyway, so I enjoy doing it. It kind of keeps me a little bit honest during that tough November and December retail season. But I do know I did learn a lesson this time that I got to do more training leading up to it, because it's, as every year that goes by, it gets a little bit hard. When that death march starts, it gets a little bit harder for that body to be like, okay, we're going to do this. Yeah. We're going to do it. So, all right, guys. Well, good deal. Great to have you on, Bonnie. Thanks for coming on and sharing your experience, and get to see that Magic Kingdom, and got to see Jed coming in there. I was like, when I was coming in the Magic, I was like, there's thousands of people. I was like, there's no way I'm going to see him. And so I was running and kind of looking, and dude, as soon as I turned in there, it's like I see this head, one head taller than everybody else. I'm like, yep, there. And I'm easy to spot too, because I'm the tallest person on the course. But so got to see Jed down there, and that's something that is one thing that I wish that I could do. And of course you can't, because I'd love to stand on Main Street one day and just experience that. It's awesome, and just everybody coming through, and just seeing the tens of thousands of runners coming through, and everybody with their own story, and just the energy there. So glad you got to do that. And all right, guys. Well, that wraps up 2026 Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend. Probably over in July or so, whenever the Jeff Galloway plan starts, we'll do the intro to the Dopey Challenge, and do another lead up to that to help everybody get ready. And hopefully you'll take the advice. I was really good this time about giving all the advice. And I actually thought about it. I thought about what I had said on one of the earlier podcasts. I was like, you're doing exactly what you say not to do, and you're going to pay for it. And I did pay for it, but I made it. Got my medals, got done. So anyway, guys. All right, guys. Well, listen, whether you're going to be running, whatever it is you're going to be doing, let's make 2026 an awesome year for you in every area of your life. And just remember, if you'll do the hard things today, tomorrow will take care of itself.